These are the known facts.
On the South Downs, one small wood holds a dark secret.
Locals once said birds refused to cross its dark canopy.
From 1972 to 1981, 4 bodies were linked to it. A constable, a vicar, a homeless woman, and a bank manager.
Years later, an occult explanation arrived and rearranged the past.
This mystery is less about demons and more about storytelling.
It begins plainly, with a man who simply went missing.
Peter Goldsmith was 44, a Sussex police constable, off-duty.
On June the 1st, 1972, he left his home in Lancing. He carried a walking stick and never returned that day. Clapham Wood lies only a few miles away across chalk slopes. For months, there was no trace, only questions and weather. Then, on December the 13th, machinery clearing scrub found him. The remains were badly decomposed, and the scene gave little away. At the inquest, the verdict stayed open, cause unknown. Later accounts hinted at beheading, but decomposition can mimic it.
Goldsmith was overweight, a heavy smoker, and medically vulnerable.
A sudden heart attack on steep paths is entirely plausible.
His wallet still held cash, which doesn't fit a robbery.
Missing small items can be lost naturally or moved by animals. Still, an open verdict leaves space for darker explanations. Over time, that space became a stage for rumor. In 1975, another death was drawn into the same orbit. Leon Foster, a bank manager, vanished on July 27th.
His body was found in his car, inside a garage elsewhere.
The location mattered. It wasn't Clapham Wood at all. Links were later suggested mainly because Foster knew Goldsmith. By the late 70s, the woods also gained eerie side stories. Some described dogs vanishing into sudden mist, as if swallowed. Others reported being shoved, losing balance on narrow woodland tracks, and there were lights above the canopy, filed as UFOs. These stories might have faded until the press began collecting them. In 1979, 2 journalists started asking for accounts and letters. Toyne Newton and Charles Walker focused on the supernatural angle. As publicity grew, more reports arrived, each stranger than the last. A pattern can appear quickly when rumors are pinned together. Then Halloween 1978 arrived, and a vicar simply disappeared overnight.
Reverend Harry Neil Snelling was 63, unwell, and worn down.
After a stroke, depression and confusion had begun to take hold. He was due to retire within days and wandered out alone. Because it was October the 31st, the date itself drove suspicion. But dementia wandering is well known, and woodland defeats bearings. Searches found nothing, partly because dense cover hides almost everything. Nearly 3 years passed before a tourist noticed bones near a path. The coroner again returned an open verdict with no sign of violence. Police suspected he became lost, then succumbed to cold or heart failure. Weeks later, another body was found not far from the same area. She was identified as homeless, known to local support services. Her death was recorded as natural causes, worsened by exposure. In later retellings, she gained a name and a sinister role.
So the facts are stark: 4 deaths and little forensic certainty.
And yet, a cult story took hold, largely after the events. Walker claimed anonymous callers described a group called Friends of Hecate.
They supposedly sacrificed dogs and used the woods for rituals.
But the only consistent source for this group is Walker himself.
No independent witness ever went to police with a full statement.
Sussex police repeatedly denied an organized satanic group operating there. They spoke instead of vandalism, campfires, and trespass in the trees. That points to legend tripping, not a disciplined secret religion. Teenagers copy what they've heard, and adults mistake it for proof. The cultural backdrop mattered. Britain was primed for occult scares. The Wicker Man and The Exorcist shaped what evil looked like. Against that mood, Clapham Wood became a canvas for suspicion. Even the name Hecate hints at modern books, not ancient lineage. Hecate is a Greek goddess, popular in 70s New Age writing.
So is the Black Lay a term from Earth mystery authors?
It's a clue that the legend was made, not discovered. Meanwhile, the wood itself has hazards that need no mythology. This is chalk and flint country, with old flint mine workings. Some shafts look like shallow bowls, masked completely by leaves. A fall here can immobilize someone in minutes, out of sight. Badger sets can also collapse, turning firm ground into a trap. Then there's the atmosphere, shaped by the valley and beach canopy. Certain winds can generate infrasound, below hearing, but still felt. Infrasound can cause nausea, unease, and fleeting shadow illusions too. Add mist and low light, and fear becomes a kind of evidence. This helps explain forces, presences, and the wood's reputation today. It also explains how a body can remain unseen near a path. So the woods are dangerous, yet the cult claims kept spreading. That spread has a mechanism. Repetition turns possibility into certainty. There's even a term for it, ostension, stories becoming actions. Publicize a cult and copycat signs appear, exactly as described. Soon, campfires become altars, and messy vandalism becomes rituals. The narrative tightens, while the actual evidence stays stubbornly thin. Walker's methods included dowsing, psychic impressions, and anonymous letters. Newton was better at collecting reports than separating fact from fiction. Together, they merged UFOs, ghosts, and deaths into one storyline. That makes gripping folklore, but it isn't how investigations work. Police focused on practical leads and dismissed the grand satanic claim. That pragmatism can look cold, especially when families want meaning. But on the record, no murder link ever joined the 4 deaths. Goldsmith's death fits accident or illness, and the file never proved more. Snelling's death fits wandering and exposure, shaped by failing health. The homeless woman's death fits a cruel pattern of unseen vulnerability. Foster's death, found in a garage, resists being part of Clapham. So the mystery sits in the gap between record and rumour. In 1987, a book finally fixed the legend in print. It tied earlier deaths together, years after the actual events. That delay matters, because memory changes and evidence disappears. When facts are scarce, extraordinary explanations feel oddly satisfying. They offer villains and motives instead of chance and bad luck. But Clapham's most human thread is mental health, not magic. A vicar losing his bearings is a tragedy, not a sacrifice. A homeless woman dying outdoors is a social failure, not myth.
And a constable's unexplained death became folklore through uncertainty alone.
The wood doesn't need demons. It has terrain, weather, and time. Yet stories change behavior, making people search differently and remember differently.
Each retelling makes the atmosphere heavier and the facts harder.
That is the placebic haunting, belief shaping what a place seems. Clapham Wood became infamous largely through repetition, not new discoveries.
Underneath, it remains ordinary woodland, indifferent to human interpretation still.
Ordinary, though, can still be lethal when someone is alone.
Open verdicts often mean only that the evidence has vanished.
In that vacuum, communities build warnings and sometimes invent monsters. Warnings can help, but myths can also distract from real risks. Clapham's true story is tragedy, landscape, and media feeding each other.
The dead deserve accuracy, not a storyline built for shivers. And the living deserve clear-eyed safety, especially in quiet places.
If there is a monster here, it's how stories outgrow facts.
In the South Downs, Clapham Wood keeps its silence as ever.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like more documentaries like this, consider subscribing and feel free to leave a comment below.